welcome everyone. Welcome to GoCast. Today we have Dan Guyon as a guest to our podcast. He is channel account manager at Forescout, and it's a pleasure to host him on the GoCast. Enjoy. So hey Dan, welcome to GoCast.
Awesome. Feel good to be here with you today.
Nice. And you're in Quebec City. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, Quebec City. My name's on the wall somewhere in Quebec City, and I haven't seen it yet, but I plan on looking for it one of these days.
Oh, we'll find it. We'll find it. Hey, Dan, can you introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, where you're from?
Sure. My name's Dan Guyon. I've been working at Forescout for about 3.5 years, but my background's been in security since 2006. I've worked at a variety of organizations from Bluecoat, Symantec to Tripwire. And I've been with Forescout again for about 3.5 years. And I run the channel with partners like yourselves.
Nice. So you say Bluecoat and Symantec. Is it because Bluecoat was acquired by Symantec or?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Nice.
Through an acquisition, I ended up with Symantec. Got to learn a little bit more about endpoints, which is something that Forescout is an expert in helping with discovery of endpoints on devices on networks.
And Forescout has been in the market for a long time now, right?
Yeah, we're a 25-year-old company this year. Pretty long history, and we started out being looked upon as a NAC company, access control, but we've evolved our organization to talk about risk, talk about, what's sitting on your network and giving organizations a better idea.
So basically, what is it doing? It's because when I first, encountered Forescout, it was really, we're going to look in your network and find what you don't know that is in there, someone who plugged something in the wall. We don't say that anymore so much, right? It still exists. You can still plug something in the wall, but I mean.
For sure. But when you look, organizations are, some are moving out to cloud, but that's not an overnight process. And Forescout is a cloud organization. So we're helping organizations understand what exactly is sitting on their network. And we have 30 different methods to do it. So, that's a big challenge. When you look at Center for Internet Security as an example, the number 1 and number 2 controls are about visibility. And it's incredible how many organizations don't know exactly what's sitting on their network. And we really help shine the light on that.
Yeah. So you said 2006. So you moved from, where were you before? What was the Dan doing?
Yeah. So I started out, at a distributor. If you'd asked me the difference between Ethernet and Internet, I had no idea. That would be 1995.
That's interesting.
Evolved. I left a distributor and worked with a partner. So I understand some of the pains that partners go through in working with their customers. I joined a distributor that was focused on security and helped them with managing all of the security vendors that they worked with.
So you decided to move just because what's the tipping point, the trigger that made you switch to cyber?
What made me switch to cyber was I saw the need. I think it was RSA and two-factor authentication and the requirements, for organizations.
The big
so it's not just the
needed to have
compliance
it.
piece, but it's a security piece. And I thought this was a pretty cool technology back in the day in 2005. That kind of got me interested in.
And your first place was Bluecoat, was it?
My first, was with Bluecoat.
And
correct.
Bluecoat was still playing on kind of two field, right? With Packet Shaper, or was it?
The Packet Shaper as well as the proxy.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Today, you've got Zscaler, you've got Netscope, and that whole cloud proxying space.
Yeah.
And I think Bluecoat was an early adopter in that area.
True. Very true. It went from, that architecture to not that at all, and then back to that. And it's really
It's
interesting
amazing how things ebb and flow. I hear some organizations, a good percentage of them move to cloud. And because cloud is actually relatively expensive, some portions of their business are starting to come back to data centers.
Well, I was going there. I studied in IT, and I learned the centralized Solaris system at the time, and then became decentralized, and then back to data center, and then back to data is decentralized again. So
what's old is new.
It is very true, very true. So 2006, so been a while. You're in cyber. You moved to Tripwire. What was Tripwire for the audience here?
Yeah, so Tripwire did file integrity monitoring, which is basically change management. So when you think about a piece of malware gets on a device, it has to do something, it has to make a change. That trips the wire, if you will. Give somebody a notification that some change has happened on the device and can create alerts. Now, when they first started, they were alerting on every change happening, which made for a very difficult, noisy time. But they evolved into, alerting more on just bad changes. They kind of know a good change from a bad change. And that's what Tripwire's specialty was. What I like about Forescout is we actually don't just notify on a change. We can do something, a control action.
Act on it.
We're the brains behind, all the devices and the network that's sitting there. So when you think about it, we maybe don't do the action. We would have a switch. Let's say we needed to quarantine a device. We can use the switch to do the quarantine or a firewall. So we only add value to an organization's network.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's and you leverage the others to mitigate.
We leverage the others, and that's the real value, I think, from us.
Hey, let's switch gear here. Let's say you have to learn about cyber or the trend or the buzzword and stuff. What event are you going for that?
How do you mean?
Well, there's, Black Hat, RSA, DEF CON, B-Sides. The community is quite energized and,
From what I like, just as a general rule, is if I'm going to events, I like events where an organization is paying to be a part of that event. You tend to get people that want to learn about what's out there in the marketplace. You reduce the number of folks that are maybe not in the marketplace to look and they're looking for jobs. That's another challenge that you'll find at some of the general shows. And you usually get a better idea of, the types of folks, that they share information of who's actually attending. That's typically what the kind of shows that we like to attend.
Great. And last question, Dan, if you could go back in time 20 years from now, what kind of advice would you tell Dan?
Buy technology stocks.
Of course. Crypto, didn't exist 20 years ago, but 10 years ago at least. Yeah.
If I had the foresight, I would have
of course
bought some of these tech stocks. I love oil and gas, and I have a lot of it in my portfolio, but it certainly didn't grow at the rates that
not the same
these technology companies did.
And in terms of career?
Actually, I love supporting partners. I love talking about our solutions with them, and I don't know that I would change my career at all. I really enjoy that part of the business and having those conversations. So, and I appreciate the partnership that GoSecure. I've known you for quite a long time.
True.
And I've worked at various organizations, and I feel like we have a pretty good story that jointly we can tell today.
Agreed.
So
absolutely.
I'm excited about the future with us.
Thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you.